Hello everyone. So welcome to the channel, the Manish Krishnaman. So as you all of know that on this particular platform we discuss about all the queries related to college admissions, to getting the job, your first job, and switching over the career. Like if you are the experienced one, so you want to switch your job from first company to second company. So all those interview questions and particularly related to DevOps and your HR related questions. So we cover all those sections over here. So welcome to the channel and keep continue to get all the questions. So today we'll be covering all the expected questions from the AWS Cloud itself. So I have a few topics listed down. So I will be covering all those questions from that particular topics. So stay tuned with the channel itself. Okay, so let's start with the first topic of the AWS Cloud. So what is the region, what is availability zone in the AWS Cloud itself? So there are multiple number of regions, there are multiple availability zones. Like if you consider Mumbai, those who are experienced, I'm just talking about the person who has learned AWS Cloud, or those who are trying to learn, so it will be beneficial for them. So what are the regions, what are the availability zones? Like if you consider for the example AP South 1, that is the Mumbai one, so it has availability zone AP South 1A or AP South 1B, C. So there are three availability zones, correct? So you can go with this particular question. That is a very basic one. So next we go with the what is VPC. So you have to define, like, and you have to understand better. You just recite the theory, you just recite the concept and definition. So you have to go with the concept, like what is the VPC, what is VPC, that means virtual private cloud, correct? So you have to go with that particular fundamentals details. So after that you go to with the subnets, like what are the different type of subnets. There are public subnets, there are private subnets, and depending on upon your requirements you create transit gateway subnets, you create your data subnets, and multiple. So you can create a n number of subnets. So what are the subnets, why they are required, and what type of segregation do these subnets does. So you have to get your concepts clear on all these topics, correct? Then we come to the route table. So what are the route tables, how they get associated with each other, and which type of subnets should get associated with what type of route tables, what should be the entry in route tables. Like depends on the flow, like whatever the routing, whatever the, I can say, way you decide, like your traffic should follow, or your internet should consider the traffic to follow. So all those type of entries in a route table you have to mention, correct? So depends how your traffic should go, which type of resources you want to put in, which type of subnets. So all these things will be covered in this section. So we have to learn about the subnets, you have to get all the information and all those the requirements, and all those, I can say, like what's the expected behavior and what's your requirements. Depends on that you can create the multiple subnets, correct? Then we multiple subnets and the route tables entry as well, correct? Okay, so next we move to the NAT. So what's the purpose of NAT, why it is used, and where can we use this? We can use the shared network, or we can use a simple network. And purpose of like NAT is basically, if you don't know, so NAT is basically used for resources which are in the private subnet and you have to access the internet, correct? So those type of resources where you don't want that external world can fetch that resource, or external world can get into that particular resource, but that particular resource can get the internet. So that type of resources we usually put into the private subnets. So how these private subnets communicate with the internet? So there should be some way to communicate. So for this particular purpose, to achieve this functionality, we have the concept of NAT gateway, correct? So you have to get all these concepts clear over the NAT itself as well. Okay, so let's move to the next topic after that, NAT. So what is the transit gateway? Why do we use transit gateway? And if you are setting up your configuration at network level, so how transit gateway can be configured? Like if you consider we have but like if you want to share a particular NAT across 10 accounts, like if you have 11 accounts, just for an example, and there's a one net in the 11th account which is the shared one, and you want to share that particular net in a 10 different accounts. So how will you share that particular NAT in all those 10 accounts? So for that particular configuration, there should be some way to like how will you create your transit gateway attachments, how will you create your transit gateway route tables, how will you share that particular NAT across all the other accounts, and how other account VPC will know that I have to use the NAT which is associated with that particular account and a different VPC, correct? And so all these will be region specific as well. So you have to get into all those details. You have to know all the setups. You have to know all the concepts clear, like how VPC communicate with each other in a different account in a different region. So I was just talking about a similar region here, but if you want to do the cross account and cross region communication as well, so there are multiple concepts. There are VPC peering concepts. There are transit gateway concepts which can help you to make the communication between two different VPCs in different accounts as well, correct? So you can cover these transit gateway concepts as well. Now let's move to the next topic, which is EC2. So what is EC2? So there are machines, correct? So there are servers which are running on your systems. So what are the EC2 machines? Why they are being used? What are the different types of EC2 instances? What are different instance classes of the EC2 machines? So you have to go with all these details, and what are the storage, how these storage are configured, how to get what to log in into your EC2 account, EC2 instances. What are the public IP addresses, what are private IP addresses, what will be the requirement to connect your EC2 instances through the internet, what is user data, like if you want to install a few of the softwares just after launching the EC2 instance, I can say, like suppose I'm just launching a EC2 instance, and then I'm just installing Docker, Kubernetes, and other required softwares, like I want to run PSQL commands over that particular EC2 instance. So I have to install all those softwares over that particular EC2 instance, correct? So now I want to automate all this. Like I don't want to launch every time EC2 instance and running all installation commands over that and then using all those commands. So I just want to create a template here, like, correct? So whenever my EC2 instance is getting launched, so it will be launched with a particular configuration, like it will have a fixed number of CPU, it will have a fixed number of RAM and all those required storage and all those kind of things. It will have all those required softwares just after launching the EC2 instance, correct? So how will I make this configuration? For that particular purpose, there is a section of user data, correct, where you can write down all those commands, and it will take the inputs and it will launch the things. Depends on your requirement and your configuration, correct? So you have to learn about the EC2 instances and the user data section and all those associated topics with the EC2, like what are the load balancer, what are the security groups, what are the target groups, so how these target groups are managed, when they become healthy, when they become not healthy, what are the auto scaling groups, like how many number of instances you want to launch at a particular time, and how many number of instances you want to keep alive at a particular time. What if instance is refreshed, or if instance state is not in available mode, so what will happen there? So ASG will come there in the picture. So you have to learn all these topics, correct? Now move to the security groups. What are the role of security groups? How these are associated with the instances? Like if you're creating a security group for your EC2 instance, for your RDS instances, for your Lambda function. So for whatever purpose you are creating your security group, so what will be the inbound rules? What will be the outbound rules? You have to go with all those concepts, like what will be the functionality if you add an outbound rules, if you remove an inbound rule. So what will be the role if you are creating a RDS instances and you are keeping it in a private mode, and if you want to connect it through on your local system or through your any of the, like if you want to access that particular database which is in the private mode, so how will you access it? So there is the concept of bastion. So how do you use bastion, and how do you configure that with the security group to connect your database? So you have to go with all those configurations, with all those concepts, correct? So now come to the RDS instances. So next topic is our RDS instances. So how do you configure RDS instances? What is the RDS instance? What is the purpose of RDS? how many number of RDS instances can be created, and what if I want to create a multiple database within a single RDS instances, how can I achieve that, correct? So you have to know all the things. You have to know what is the performance insights, what is the configuration for the RDS, particular RDS, what if I change anything in between, like if we created RDS instances through automation, and if I change something manually, what will happen? So what is apply immediately? How can you change your RDS instance classes? How can you encrypt your RDS resource? So there comes a KMS concept as well. So next we will cover the KMS concept as well. So correct. So after the RDS it comes the S3. So what is the S3? The S3 bucket you might be knowing. So what is S3? Why we use S3 buckets? Is it the region specific? It's the global service. So you have to learn about the S3 as well. So what are the lifecycle rules? How objects are stored? Can I delete buckets at a time without deleting objects or not? So there are a number of questions associated with S3 buckets as well. So you have to learn that as well. What are the IAM roles, policy, user creation? How many number of users can be created? Like what are the different types of users that can be created using the IAM service of AWS? So you have to go with all those things. What are the role permissions? What are the user boundary? So you have to go with all those concepts as well. Next, come to the KMS key, what we just discussed. So what is the key management service? Like there are multiple number of KMS key. Like there is AWS managed KMS key, there is customer managed key. So what are the different type of key and why these are being used? So you have to learn about those concepts as well. What is the Route 53? The great topic I can say from the networking side. So what is Route 53? Why do we use Route 53, and how it routed your traffic from one point to another point? So what's the overall achievement? Like how do we achieve any configuration through the Route 53? Like how your traffic will get routed from one point to another point? So all those concepts you have to learn about with the Route 53. What is the Lambda function? Like if you want to make any type of changes based on the events, like something happens, so you have a trigger point at this particular point. If something happens, so you will be running the Lambda function, and it will automatically run your job. So to achieve this type of functionality, there is a concept of Lambda function in AWS Cloud. So you have to go with all these kind of topics which will help you to achieve your interview, and you can crack your interview. These are the basic topics which are generally covered while you are getting interviewed for the DevOps and the cloud section. So it will help you. So for all these type of informations, for all these type of questions, or any ask or any help about the interview, about the admissions or anything, you can get here. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and you will get the benefits always from here. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Stay happy and stay healthy. Bye.